Section 1. The Imperial Arc. Narratives of Overreach and Decline. History does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. This aphorism, often attributed to Mark Twain, is a lens for the events of 2026. The conflict between the United States and Iran is not a carbon copy of any past war. Yet to ignore its recurring patterns is to misunderstand its nature. The crisis mirrors ancient empires in its structure, in its motivations, and in its consequences. From the struggle for strategic trade routes to the complex web of alliances and the tragic destruction of cultural heritage. The events of this year are a modern performance of a very old play. Understanding these echoes is essential to grasp the forces that shape our world and our potential futures. The central thesis: the 2026 Iran War is a powerful illustration of timeless imperial logic. Great powers, from Rome to the United States, behave predictably. They seek to secure resources. They seek to project power. Rivals respond asymmetrically, leveraging geography and ideology. Section 2. The Arteries of Power, controlling global chokepoints. Empires, ancient and modern, prize trade routes. Roman control of Mediterranean sea lanes and the network of roads. Grain, wine, and olive oil. Persian command of the Silk Road, taxing caravans east and west. Control equaled wealth and power. To choke trade weakened rivals without decisive battle. That logic holds today and underpins the conflict we witness. In 2026, Hormuz is the choke point, about 20% of global oil and gas. Iran closed the strait after U.S.-Israeli attacks, a classic asymmetric strategy. Global trade was disrupted, energy prices spiked. Even a regional power can hold the system hostage. Power maps are drawn by geography. As Rome secured Egyptian grain, modern powers keep energy flowing. The U.S. buildup, largest since 2003, and the demand reopened the strait as a ceasefire condition. Objective: restore global commerce, economic control of passage. Timeless principle: control choke points, wield influence, whether silk and spices or crude and LNG. Section 3. The Great Game renewed. Alliances and multi-sided power struggles. Ancient conflicts were rarely simple. The Peloponnesian War was not merely Athens versus Sparta, the Delian League, and the Peloponnesian League. Persia played Greek city-states against one another. Rome's rise was built on shifting alliances, client states, and proxy wars against rivals like Carthage and Parthia. Multi-sided struggles, fluid loyalties. This pattern is reflected in the 2026 Iran War. Not a simple Washington versus Tehran, a regional conflagration with a sprawling cast. Initial strikes were a joint U.S.-Israeli operation. Iran's influence flows through allied groups, Houthis included, able to disrupt the Red Sea. U.S.-aligned states hosted bases and were hit in return. A dangerous web of commitments and escalations. Mojtaba Khamenei became supreme leader after his father's assassination, seen as more hawkish. Mediators like Pakistan hosted ceasefire talks, diplomacy rivaling firepower. As Britain and Russia vied in Central Asia, today the United States, Iran, Israel, and regional powers move pieces that trigger cascading, unpredictable consequences. A defining feature of imperial warfare was its tendency to metastasize, spreading beyond the initial zone. A dispute on the Roman frontier with Germania could trigger troop movements in Syria and political instability in Gaul. A fire in one province could become a blaze that threatened the whole structure. Borders were porous to violence. The 2026 Iran conflict shows this contagion, amplified by modern technology. It began with strikes inside Iran and did not stay contained. It spilled over, affecting the region and the world. Iran responded with missiles and drones against Israel and U.S. bases in allied countries. Non-combatant nations found themselves under fire. Sovereignty violated. Populations at risk. Strikes on Dubai International Airport forced flights to a near-complete halt, stranding thousands and disrupting a global hub. Travel and trade were hit far beyond Hormuz. The psychological impact matched the physical damage. Modern warfare leapfrogs front lines with long-range missiles and drones, striking deep into economic and civilian centers. An attack at the center provokes responses through networks of allies, enemies, and partners, now globally. A strike in Tehran can prompt a shutdown in Dubai and a shipping crisis in the Red Sea. No major conflict is truly local. Consequences spread along trade, travel, and alliances, just as in antiquity, now at the speed of a drone. Cicero said the sinews of war are infinite money. Campaigns are sustained and motivated by economic power. Empires fought for tangible resources, mines, fertile land, taxable populations, and lucrative trade. War as economics by other means. The 2026 conflict, framed in security and ideology, is rooted in economics. Causes and effects tie to resource flows, market stability, and vast sums undergirding the order. The U.S. buildup spark preceded the assassination. Iran's brutal protest crackdown drew threats and the largest deployment in decades. Presented as rights and security, but intertwined with stabilizing a key oil region. Instability in Iran threatens global energy supply. Great powers often intervene to protect economic interests, under varied pretexts. Closure of Hormuz and attacks on shipping disrupted about 20% of the world's oil. Prices spiked dramatically. Transport costs rose, food prices climbed, Red Sea disruptions bottlenecked supply chains. Damage to hubs like Dubai further paralyzed movement of goods and people. The shockwave hit homes and firms far away. War is fought with weapons, but driven, sustained, and judged by economic consequences. A classic pattern: internal instability, great power intervention, global fallout. Throughout history, war wounds people and their culture. The Library of Alexandria, the sacking of Rome, the razing of countless monuments, often deliberate erasures. Destroying art, architecture, sacred places strikes a culture's soul. In 2026, reports from Iran's Cultural Heritage Ministry and UNESCO painted a grim picture. Over 56 damaged sites, later rising to 120. Golestan Palace. Shockwave damage to tilework and interiors. Chehel Sotun in Isfahan hit near the 17th century complex. Masjid-e-Jame damaged, continuity of worship disrupted. Each strike is an irreplaceable loss to Iran and humanity. These are living places, where communities gather and history is enshrined. Militaries claim precision, yet dense cities and powerful munitions make cultural damage likely. Over 1,400 killed. Institutions that bind communities upended. A mirror of ancient conquerors, cultural erasure leaving ruins and bitterness. A message that nothing is sacred, an entire civilization under assault. The 2026 Iran war, with complex causes and devastating consequences, feels modern, drones and precision missiles in real-time media. Yet its underlying structure is ancient. Tools evolve, but the grammar of power persists. Control of chokepoints, complex alliances, conflicts spilling across borders, commerce and culture harmed, none are new. Timeless features of great and aspiring powers. Hormuz echoes the Silk Road and Mediterranean lanes. Today's network mirrors the multi-sided games of the Peloponnesian War. Rapid spread, ancient contagion, modern speed, economic shockwaves and cultural loss, long echoes of warfare. Parallels don't predict perfectly, but they frame the present. Not fatalism, wisdom and humility. Learn from prior successes and failures. See the allure of overreach, the danger of miscalculation, the predictable consequences of violence, so we can break the cycle. History shows roads others traveled. Many lead to ruin. Its lesson distilled to a single sentence. The 2026 Iran war feels like ancient imperial conflicts because power, trade, and rivalry work the same way now as they did long ago.